Are you sick of waking up with anxiety and regret after drinking? I get it. I was a weekend binge drinker, fooling myself into believing I was detoxing all week, only to retox every weekend and live completely outside of alignment with my values. As a former personal trainer who cared about health, that disconnect pushed me to finally make a change. I'm Maureen Bankovich, and this is Sober Fit Life, a podcast where we get real about alcohol, share powerful stories, and learn from wellness experts so you can thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. Let's get sober fit. Have you ever Googled, "Am I an alcoholic?" Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label and more about how drinking actually makes you feel? That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at soberfitchick.com/MI. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? soberfitchick.com/MI. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Sober Fit Life. I have been looking forward to this interview for a very long time. This is my yoga instructor, cycle instructor, and friend, Tina Lanzoni. And I don't know if she knows this, but she's been a big part of my alcohol-free journey because I didn't really understand regulating central nervous system, getting into breath work, stillness, leaning into discomfort. And as I removed alcohol and grew in my alcohol-free lifestyle, I learned how important those things are and were to changing to be a person who doesn't drink or drinks very little in some people's cases. So I so wanted to have Tina on here because the things that she says in her classes just really strike a chord with me. And I know this is the very kind of same things I coach on in when someone wants to change their relationship with alcohol. And it's so applicable to life. So I want to just get into introducing you to Tina, and we'll just have a conversation about all the beautiful things she says in her classes. So Tina is a yoga therapist, certified mindfulness meditation teacher, and an indoor cycling instructor, which you wouldn't think that last one, but believe me, her cycle classes are extremely challenging. I'm going to let her tell you all the details of her certifications, but Tina incorporates meditation, somatic movement, yin, breath work, eye rest in her teachings to assist students in developing an understanding of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual connection that is just so important. And I love in her quote here, Tina says, and I know this is true because I see her live it, I hear her speaking, "Yoga and meditation are my life's passions. I believe it is what I was put on this earth to do. I feel so fortunate to be able to share this practice with others." And I feel so fortunate, Tina, to be able to be one of your students. And I'm so excited to bring your knowledge and wisdom today to my audience. So welcome, Tina.
Oh, thank you, Maureen. Wow, that was beautiful, and I feel so incredibly honored to be here with you and to watch your journey and the beauty that it has unfolded. And it has really been a gift. Thank you for that introduction. I don't know that anything else really needs to be said. You seem to have hit the certifications and what I do and how I try to share this work with others. And that's really what's important to me in life.
Yeah. We've known each other for a long time in this town, as in the fitness kind of world. I was a fitness instructor at one point, and I don't know if you remember this, but I do. I was really going through a deep depression. I was drinking. My mother was sick. My father, we were taking care of my mother together, my siblings and my father. And I came to you and I was really struggling, really depressed. We had a conversation and I remember just talking to you and just even feeling like a calm and a peace talking to you. You just have a very calming voice that I love to hear. But then it was a couple years later, actually in 2018, when my father did pass. He had a stroke and he died, and it was very surprising. We all thought he was going to live to like 100. So it was very painful. And I came to you for yoga trauma therapy, kind of. I'm probably saying that wrong. Individual, one on one. And I really didn't know what I was getting into. I just know that I was holding a lot of sadness and stress, and I felt really safe with you, so I wanted to come to you. So can you talk a little bit about that kind of work that you do, this one-on-one therapy? Because I couldn't believe the release and where I was holding it in my hips, and all this stuff I learned with you was just so interesting. It was part of the beginning of my journey of not drinking. But if you could share maybe
Yeah,
that kind of work that you do, the
I
one-on-one.
would I would love to. And of course I remember all of that with you, of course. And um, I think when people think of yoga in the US, we think of a very, very physical practice.
Yes.
And in some ways in the United States, we have taken yoga and we have molded it to fit our lifestyle, right? Which is what everybody does. But when you study yoga and you study yoga deeply, you study something called the Yoga Sutras. And the Yoga Sutra is a thread, and there are like 170, I should know this, 2 or 76 little threads of wisdom that kind of help you to diminish suffering and
Hmm.
to live a happier life. But what's amazing about it is that it starts, again, we think about yoga being physical. It starts with, here we go. Let's go into this exploration of yoga. The second sutra says, yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. Yoga
Mm.
is quieting the mind. That is what yoga is. And as you go through and you understand how much this thinking, ruminating
Yes.
mind of ours holds us back, you realize that you're such a multi-dimensional
Hmm.
person. We just identify with this physical body, right? But what we don't realize is that, like what you were saying about holding things in your hips, right? That if we're living here, one of my favorite quotes is Mr. Duffy lived a short distance from his body. And I love that, right? Because we all live in our heads.
Yes.
Nobody is embodied. So the work that I do is about getting people to get into their bodies, to feel their bodies rather than think. Most of the time, people don't even know that they're
Hmm.
thinking and that they're ruminating about something, but to be in their bodies rather than avoid what is here,
Yes.
right? And then as I go into my body and I understand that I'm a multidimensional human being, meaning I'm made up of a physical body, an emotional body, a cognitive thought body, right? And buried under all of those things is who I was when I first came to this earth,
Mm.
before anybody defined me, right? And
Yes.
so the journey of yoga therapy is about, really, who are you? Not what the thoughts in your head tell you that you are, not what how other people define you. Life is a journey of discovering really who we are.
And yet we spend so much time almost running away from that, numbing it, not being embodied. That's certainly what I was doing with drinking. Drinking is actually chaos. And it's also a way to just shut off those ruminating thoughts, not to learn how to be in your body. And so,
Right.
yes, you always talk about being embodied, be in this moment. You're
Mm-hmm.
here now.
Right. Completely. Completely. And I mean, you just said it exquisitely. if I am in this body, I am living in this present moment. I am not going back and having doubt about what I did before. I am not worrying about what's to come in the future. I am here in this living, breathing body. And the more that I can train myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yoga is
That's
the
true.
cessation of the fluctuations of the mind,
Love
right?
that.
The more that I can train myself to be embodied, the more present I become, the less, fluctuations that are in my mind, and ultimately, the less suffering that I have.
Mm-hmm. Peace. There's a peace and a calm.
Oh, for
And
sure.
that's on the mental level. And then the actual physiological level, what happens to your central nervous system when you embody these practices. And the word practice, and just like what I talk about with my clients, all this is new, creating new neural pathways. For me, practicing yoga and breath work. For people who are trying not to drink, it's, the new neural pathway of, instead of stopping your ruminating thoughts, your stress with drinking, what else can we do? And one of those things is yoga and breath work and
Mm-hmm.
stillness. So I love how
Right.
they integrate. That's what I always feel, when we talk, that our work that we both do is integrated.
Completely. Absolutely. And I think you brought about a great point that, you know, this is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a practice until the day I die. I am not Buddha. I am not Jesus, right? I am not this enlightened being.
Mm-hmm.
I have to practice this every single day of my life, right? And I practice it when I'm practicing my yoga practice, but that cultivation of practicing it in the quiet of my home, right? This is where I practice in
Mm-hmm.
my attic studio, right? um, Helps me then to embody it, to go out and live my life that way. And it's these little tiny, tiny changes that add up over years of time.
Yes, and that's such an important point. It's baby steps, it's consistency, it's showing up, and it's also giving yourself self-compassion. Like, you speak to this in yoga. Me coming from the fitness world and push, push, push and lift harder, yoga has really helped me to slow down and accept that I can't go any further in this one position. And you always say, receive that, breathe into that, relax into that, stop contracting into that and resisting it. And what can it teach you? And I think that is so valuable when you make me think about those things and how it applies to when I walk out of the yoga studio to the rest of my
Right,
life.
right, because right, we're always striving
Mm-hmm.
more, 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 harder, harder, harder,
Go, go,
right?
go.
And yeah, and what are we striving for? Where are we trying to get to?
Yeah,
You know,
that's a good
are
question.
we trying to find this? You know, I think it's such a disservice, the things that we're being fed, about always trying to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you look on social media and everybody has the perfect life, and there's something wrong with me,
Right.
right? That is the biggest core belief. What's wrong with me? I'm not enough. That's
Yes,
the
I am
biggest
not
core
enough.
belief.
I hear that all the time, and I felt that myself for years.
Right,
It's
right. I mean,
comparison.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I still struggle
Mm-hmm.
with
Of
it,
course.
right?
Yeah.
You know, because it's embedded in my psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can learn to be with what is and not push any further, right? Like, to just sit in stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to sit with being unhappy, to sit with sadness, to sit with anger. You know, this is how I see how yoga has affected my life in the 25 years that I've taught, right? I used to get behind the wheel of a car and I would be so pissed off if somebody
Yeah.
would cut me off, right? And then this whole thing would start
Yes.
happening. And what I've learned to do is that part of being human is that anger is going to arise, sadness is going to arise. There are going to be difficult emotions that arise. This is part of being human. These things are supposed to be here. And if I can learn to feel them,
Yes.
I forget who said this. I think it was, and I can't think of her name right now, but the woman who had a stroke. Like, I think she wrote a book like Stroke of
Yeah.
Genius or something like that. Jill, anyway, um, that an emotion lasts for 90 seconds.
Yes.
I mean, think about that. How long are we stuck in emotions? Days,
Years.
years,
Mm-hmm.
because we keep feeding them.
Yes. We're on a loop.
And we push them away. We push them down. We bury them, and we don't feel them and allow them to be there.
Yeah. I want to go back to what you said, and it ties into this because we're getting messaged all the time through social media, through advertising, through the shows we watch. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be comfortable, right? And if we're not, we need to take something, drink something, scroll through something, buy something to not feel those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
We are told we
Completely.
should not feel discomfort. And
Right.
yet leaning into that discomfort in our minds, in our thought processes, and this is what you teach us in our practice in yoga, leaning into the discomfort of, say, the pose, um, is where you grow.
Right. Because if I'm feeling, let's say, the practice of yin, and for people who are listening who don't know what that is, it's a practice where you are on the ground and you're holding really deep
Mm.
stretches. And when somebody comes into that and they're new, they'll say, "This hurts." And so then I say, "Well, tell me about hurt.
Mm.
What does hurt feel like?" And then they'll say, like, "It's just really uncomfortable." So automatically I see, oh, that person has to learn to be with discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then as you go into the body and as you learn to sit with discomfort, as you learn to feel discomfort, and we are layered human beings, right? We
Yes.
kind of go through those layers. We start to feel in the body how it is an automatic reactive response to contract
Yes.
against discomfort. Yet, right? So if I'm contracting, something's hard,
Yeah.
I'm making it harder,
Mm-hmm.
aren't I?
Yes.
And, and if I can learn back to that, emotion lasts for 90 seconds, to relax and feel what's here
Mm-hmm.
as it's here, the discomfort of whatever it might be. I learn that I can deal with things,
Yes.
with which builds a resiliency in me. And I also learn that my mind has made something more difficult than what is actually here.
That's
Does that make sense?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I share this with clients in a different way, not emotions, but cravings or urges. They too
Mm,
will pass, and they're even faster than emotions, like 30 to 40 seconds, and
wow.
it's like a wave. We call it urge surfing. So, as a wave builds, it builds, it builds, but it's going to break. And on the other
Right.
side of that is release. So helping people to lean into the discomfort. Why am I craving alcohol right now? What do I think it's going to give me? What am I trying to resist or avoid or contract away
Right.
from? And so if they can lean into that, they can learn, well, I feel really stressed out. Well, is it true that alcohol is going to help? And we go through that process. Like you said, learning about discomfort, and it's okay.
Yeah. 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 And it's part of being human,
Yes.
right? And and it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be.
Right.
If I am unhappy, there's not anything wrong with me. I mean, we have a negativity
Mm-hmm.
bias.
Mm,
right?
yes.
I mean, Rick Hansen, who's a meditation teacher and a psychiatrist, he says that, you know, negative thought is like Teflon.
Mm,
I mean, no, negative thought is like Velcro, and positive thought is like Teflon. We hold on to the negativity because it's part of our survival.
right.
So we have to understand the workings of our
Hmm.
mind. We have to understand how our minds work. And just as you were saying, as you do with your clients, then you question it.
Yes. You get
Is that
curious.
true? You're right. You get curious.
Hmm.
Curiosity is a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
When I first started my own alcohol-free journey, I had a coach and she would say, you need to be curious. And I really did not know what that meant. I did not know. And now I see it everywhere. And you always actually talk about it, no matter what class we're in, to be curious about that feeling you're having about, it hurts, or I don't want to do this, or, and you always ask this great question. Why wouldn't you want to see what you can do or who you can be
Yeah.
in this moment? I
Right?
love that question. Can you speak to that? Like what you're trying to get that message across?
Yeah. Again, from conditioning, from core beliefs, we sell ourselves short
Yes.
all the time.
So true.
I mean, my goodness, we are amazing, brilliant, strong, vibrant creatures. And fear holds us back.
Hmm.
And so to drop in, to to feel it, and to just take a chance, like what happens? What happens, for you? What happens if I live one day
Yes.
without
Yeah.
alcohol,
That's where
right?
it starts.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, and then because the unfolding, to
Mm.
see the unfolding of a human
Oh,
being,
yes.
stunning, stunning,
And that's why you do what you
right?
do, right? You love to see that.
Oh,
And same here.
oh my goodness,
Hmm.
right, right. The beauty that is, again, in yoga, we call them koshas. Koshas are coverings. It means, it's a Sanskrit word that means sheath, and it covers the essence of who you are. You're not your physical body. You're not your emotions. You're not your thoughts. You are beyond what you could ever
Mm.
imagine. And the journey of life is to discover that. Right? Know thyself. Know thyself.
Yeah.
It's what it's all about.
I love this meme, I guess you call it. It's a caterpillar talking to a butterfly, and the caterpillar says to the butterfly, "You've changed." And the butterfly says, "We're supposed to." And I
Yeah,
love that. And you kind of spoke to that in class the other day, that at the end of our lives we should not be where we are right now, stuck in the same. We want to change and grow and shed what no longer serves us. And why wouldn't we want to see who we can be?
completely. Completely. Yet sometimes people get to a certain age
Hmm.
and they think the best part of their life is over,
Yeah.
right? And then you see people like in their 80s that are still have this curiosity
Yeah.
and this zest for life to continue to grow.
Hmm.
And so, again, back to that notion of, you know, discipline and practice and small steps. And, in the work that I do, if I can just keep noticing when I'm not present,
Yes.
when I'm stuck in my head, and keep, you know, feeding present moment. Let me just keep coming back to this moment. Let me just keep coming back. Pretty soon, those self sabotaging thoughts quiet a
Hmm.
little. At first, it may be like, what? Notice a space. First, it's like people don't even notice that
Yeah.
they're thinking, they're caught up and they're self sabotaging. But then it's like a second. oh, there's a second of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And if I keep practicing it, oh, there's 30 seconds of peace, right?
Yes.
And it just keeps expanding. And as it keeps expanding in you, then like when I'm having a conversation with you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to you. I'm I'm present, and you feel that and you feel heard,
Yes.
and then it's this beautiful reciprocal thing that
Mm-hmm.
unfolds.
Yeah, and it spreads to other people. I love what you said, notice. That's such a key word because I think we're so busy and in our heads, and in the next moment or 5 moments ahead, we don't notice unless we're encouraged to notice. And I do that as well. Notice how you're feeling. And you always encourage us in class, like notice how this pose, or notice when we're holding this high level and cycle, how you're feeling. And you always say, come back to the present, one pedal stroke, one pedal stroke. And you keep
Right.
us in the present. And it's such a challenge for everybody not to be like planning their day while they're in class. And that is a
Yeah.
practice in itself too, to as you're saying, to be present, notice the
Right.
stillness.
We're trying to change the habits of coming out of ourselves, right?
Yes.
We come, something's uncomfortable. Let me, which you so eloquently said, let me go to social media, let me drink, let me eat, let me shop, let me watch TV, let me get out of myself.
Yes.
The only place to find peace is when you go into
Mhm.
yourself. You are never going to find it out here, ever. You're never going to find it.
And when you say go into yourself, you don't mean like isolate and stay in your head in a
No,
negative way.
no, no. I mean, feel what's here, and what is here is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest teachings in life is that everything is transient.
Mm-hmm.
I may be struggling really hard today, but if I can just hang here and be with it,
Yeah.
10 minutes might be different. Tomorrow morning when I wake up might look different, does look different,
Yes.
not might, right? So it's like when you stay with something, when you really just sit in something, let's say it's physical discomfort, like I have this incredible pain
Mm-hmm.
in my back. If I really explore it, and I close my eyes to do
Mm-hmm.
this because this is what I do in
Yep.
my own life, and I'm feeling it, and I am so intimate with the sensation of what I label as pain in
Mm-hmm.
my body, I notice that it's always changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that with my emotions. Like, oh, this anger feels hot and clenching and whatever it is. And guess what? It's changing. And this thought, this negative thought that I have about someone or about myself, or my thoughts are always changing. Everything is always changing. But what's not changing is that part of me that is aware of everything changing. And I find that part of me by being still and going inward.
Why do you think we're so against that? Like, why do you think it's not our nature to do that?
That's a really good question. Um, I would say one is that, again, what
Yes.
we're fed, excuse
Yes.
me, what we're fed
Constantly marketing.
constantly.
Mm-hmm.
One, two, it takes courage
Courage. Yes.
to sit and to be with what
Mm-hmm.
is. And three, we really don't have an understanding that things are transient.
Yes.
People can tell us that, but until we learn to sit with it and really embody that we everything is transient, we don't know it in our biology.
And we have to experience it ourselves. Someone can't tell, they can tell you their experience, just like I might share with someone, you're never going to believe this, but without alcohol, life as you said, unfolds, it's layers, it's become incredible. I've changed so much. And that person drinking can be like, yeah, right. Because, and I get it.
Sure.
People used to say those kind of things to me. I wasn't ready to experience that. So someone can tell you their experience, but you have to embody it yourself, and you have to be willing to go through the process. And in the beginning of anything, it's always going to be a challenge. And I think that is something we all think we should have instant, gratification, instant success. I should be good at yoga right away. I should be able to, hit that spinning interval that Tina's giving me with no problem. But no, your whole point is always to challenge us to grow, to
Right.
not stay. But we come in, I guess it's the unrealistic expectations I'm getting to that we all have of ourselves.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with we are a society of instant gratification. So we have to teach ourselves to be disciplined
Mm-hmm.
and to commit to something,
Yeah.
right? Like I my alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning to get up and meditate.
Mm,
Sometimes I don't have a good night's sleep,
right.
but I drag myself out of bed because I know I came to this practice, you know, a long time ago with a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I know by doing the work,
Yes.
by staying dedicated and committed to getting up and meditating and doing breath work, I can downregulate my nervous system. I can manage my anxiety, but it is not a quick
No.
fix, which is what we are so programmed for.
Yes, which is where alcohol comes in. And that term too, downregulate your central nervous system. I, again, did not understand that before, even as being a fitness instructor, because I was always more pushing, do contests, lift harder, push, go, go, go. I wasn't downregulating my central nervous system. And I didn't realize I was using alcohol to do that. And that's
Mhm.
where this important practice of stillness, breath work, meditation, leaning into the discomfort comes in. So I just love how you always reinforce the work I do on myself and the work I do with
Mhm.
clients. And that's why I just really wanted to have you on here. But I wanted to shift gears a little bit, because Tina is an incredible yoga instructor, and you can hear in her voice, it's just so calming. I love to hear her talk. And so when I found out she was teaching cycle, I thought, well, this will be interesting. Don't let her niceness fool you. She she is a very challenging cycle instructor, but it's such a different class because it's about being embodied and leaning into the discomfort again. And sometimes we do a meditative cycle, which I've never done before, and it's so interesting to stay in that discomfort and to just be embodied and not leave the class mentally. And so it's again, it's just such an interesting practice. And I love that you've introduced that in my life. And I know, believe me, it's hard to get in our classes. Everybody loves to take our classes. But I wanted to
Oh,
shift gears
thank you.
because you have another part of your story, that I wanted to share with clients. Because sometimes people come to me and they're like, Maureen, I want to change my relationship with alcohol, but I'm married. My spouse still drinks and doesn't want to change. They don't even have an issue with alcohol, but they're not going to change. And they're worried about that. And you have some experience in your own personal life with that. Can you share that from your perspective?
I sure can. Yeah. So a long time ago, I've been married this year, gosh, will be 35
Oh,
years. And
congratulations.
thank you. And um, about 33 years ago, 30, gosh, is that true? No, 30 years ago, my husband stopped drinking.
Mm,
And, and I always felt like he needed to be empowered to do that on his own.
yes.
That it wasn't my journey,
Hmm.
that it was his journey, his choice.
Hmm.
So he did that and
It's
has still
wonderful.
done that. Yeah. And I did not change my
Hmm.
lifestyle. Now, I don't, I have a glass of wine here and there. I never really drank a lot. Um, but I didn't feel like, I mean, I don't really know. It's gonna not maybe not sound right, but I didn't feel like it was mine to change. It was his.
Absolutely.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was his journey, and I'm always here to support him as we do our
Yeah.
spouses.
That's what I wanted you to
And
speak to, is how your support. You didn't change, but you supported him.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, supported him and loved him through it, and I see the beautiful man that he is now from the strength that he can see in himself that he has,
Yes.
um, and God, it's taken it's taken a long time, but now he sits on the couch with me in the morning and meditates with
Wow.
me.
That's great.
And that didn't happen right away,
Sure.
like his his path was, he's a musician and playing music, and he found other
Mhm.
ways to reduce his stress,
Yes.
right? Everybody has their own way. Meditation, yoga isn't the path for everybody, um, but
Yes.
awareness is the path for everybody,
Change can
for
only
sure.
happen with awareness. You have to become
Yeah,
aware. And I love
right.
how you say, everyone has to find out what tools work for them, what lights them
Yeah,
up. But
right.
being willing to try different things, and at different times in your life, you might be willing to, like now you say he's meditating. But I just wanted you to share that you're supportive. And even though you didn't change your lifestyle, uh, because you never really had an issue with alcohol. So,
Right.
and I did want to share in a cycle class one time,
Mhm.
and I just thought this was so great. You were telling a story, and as you do in the beginning, and you said, last night it was a little bit stressful, and I was cooking dinner, and I thought, I'm going to pour myself a glass of wine. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to. And I thought, wow, what a great message. Because I know when I was a fitness instructor, I'd be like, come on, let's work off the alcohol we drank last night. Or if you're going to happy hour,
Yeah.
work off now. I would say things like that. And I loved how you did not say that. And instead you told people this mindset shift you had, and that you just chose not to drink. And it was such a healthy message to share with your clients.
Well, and I don't know if I shared the rest of that story, but it was a hard day. It was a really difficult day. And again, this want to avoid feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? We all
Yeah.
have these to avoid these feelings, and we turn to other things rather than turn inward and experience. And what I ended up doing that day was turning on music
Yeah.
and singing,
Oh, I love that.
and it shifted it.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is a revelation. Like, what? There's so much at our fingertips that can help support us through the struggles that we go through being human.
Mm-hmm.
And music is one of those beautiful things.
Yeah, I loved when you shared that story. And that is, again, something I share with my clients. Find healthy ing activities. So singing, dancing,
Mm,
writing,
mm.
journaling, gardening, not the one unhealthy ones,
Meditating.
meditating,
Yeah, yeah,
yogaing, is that a word?
yeah. Yoga, we'll make it a
Make it
word.
one. Yeah. And the unhealthy ones would be smoking, drinking, scrolling, excessive shopping, and there's many more, gambling. But the healthy ones, so think of what lights you up with the healthy
Right.
ing activity. And singing, there's so much with music that
Oh,
taps into so much,
yeah,
even if you're not a good
yeah.
singer.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
was so glad nobody was there with me at that moment. But yeah, completely,
Yeah. I
completely.
just love how you embody your work, and you set such a good example, and you've really just helped me to lean into discomfort and try new things and change and grow, and I continue to do that. And I think you're just so inspiring. And I'm so grateful you came on here today to share. Is there anything else you would like to share, or maybe how people could
Uh,
get in touch with you, or do anything you have to offer that you would like to?
yeah, yeah. You know, I I think the journey of meditating is a journey of presence, is a journey of pausing.
Mm,
right? I mean, you've probably heard me say a million times in class that slowness creates consciousness,
Yes.
right? So if I can pause and take a moment and go from this, for your clients, I want to drink, to feeling what's here,
Mm-hmm.
pause, and be embodied, then I'm not supporting those reactive behaviors, right? My habits.
Yes.
And I can just keep making another choice. It's like, I know you probably know this quote, but again, I have a lot of favorite
I know.
quotes,
I
but
love
this
that.
is it's definitely a big one for me. And it's Viktor Frankl,
Oh, yeah.
Frankl.
Yes.
And it's between stimulus and response. Let's see if I can get this right. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space, which is the pause to me, is our power to choose our response.
Mm.
And in that response lies our growth and our freedom.
Yes.
I mean, that's like
Boom.
boom,
That is it.
boom. That's it. That's the key to life right there.
Yeah.
That's it. So, yeah, if I can help anybody, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm here to do. Um, I at Evolutions, and you're welcome to come in to try a class. I'm at Groundswell Yoga. If you use my name Tina, you can sign up and just get a free class whenever you'd like. And step out of your box and try something new. And the world's exciting. There's a lot out there,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot to learn, and a lot to be curious about.
Yeah, I love that. And so that's in the Annapolis area for people who are local.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
so the message is really to
And
stay.
Tina Yan, oh, I'm
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
and TinaLanzoni.com. I have a lot virtual too.
Oh,
So, meditation, we meditate virtually. And
mm,
so, yeah, there's a lot of resources, take one little step towards something.
yes. Thank you so much, Tina, for sharing your gift.
Oh,
And I'm so honored I get to experience it personally.
Maureen, thank you for doing the beautiful work that you do. And, having that in my life, and to see, somebody who can support somebody in this journey. Right on, sister. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
Have you ever Googled, "Am I an alcoholic?" Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label and more about how drinking actually makes you feel? That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at soberfitchick.com/MI. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? Soberfitchick.com/MI.